In this short video, I want to talk about the meaning of dreamless sleep. I want to ask the question, what is the whole of humanity such that we all dreamlessly sleep? What is the meaning of dreamless sleep, and how are we to understand ourselves as dreamless sleepers? Are there resources for self-understanding? Are there ways that we can come to identify ourselves and see ourselves as more connected with nature and the larger world? Can we come to understand ourselves as more connected to others? To what extent is dreamless sleep a truth about ourselves that we seem to be hiding from? What I want to do in the rest of this video is a couple of things. First, I want to read just a little passage, I guess a couple of passages from an essay that I had published some years ago in Human Studies. The essay is called Dreamless Sleep and the Whole of Human Life. After reading that, I am just going to raise a couple of questions and hopefully provoke some issues that will help people think about or maybe raise further questions about the meaning of dreamless sleep. And if anything, I hope that this helps people to ask questions about what is the nature of our very being such that we need dreamless sleep, and does this give us a clue to understanding how we're related to the larger world? Okay, and here's a little bit from the essay. How are we to understand the whole of our being when part of our existence opens to that which has never been present for us, but which we are? We all spend a great part of our lives in the vegetative state of dreamless sleep, but because we can reduce ourselves to our awake existence, we easily deny the ambiguity of the whole of who we are. As Sharma writes, sleep would not pose the kind of problem it does if we were not, besides other things, sleeping beings. It also would not pose much of a problem if we were not waking beings too. It poses a problem precisely because we are both. The bulk of the problem is that we tend to think of ourselves as primarily or even exclusively conscious, thinking, that is, awake beings who admittedly do sometimes need to get some sleep. Such an awakeist bias fails to grasp the degree to which we are sleeping beings for whom awakeness is a periodic achievement. Such a bias also fails to grasp how dreamless sleep is a complement and corrective to the generally accepted idea that death serves as sufficient grounding for disclosing a person's being a whole. Only by adequate exposition of dreamless sleep can we recover an authentic, even if ambiguous, sense of the whole of our being. What is continuous across the states of being awake, dreaming, and sleeping without dreaming is not some inner self, nor some superordinary transcendental I, but the larger living event of which awakeness is the partial moment. Awake, I am an individuated whole who is part of a whole, and yet as someone who necessarily already has slept, I only am on the condition of having been indistinguishable from the whole. This is possible because the whole in question is that absolute whole of all wholes, the partless whole, the undifferentiated. To deny that I am part of that whole which nevertheless also is the whole of who I am is to deny the meaning of dreamless sleep. Awake, I am but one unique body related to many others in a public world. With authentic being toward death, my oneness, my self-relation intensifies into angst and anticipatory resoluteness. But as individuation recovers its roots in universally shared sleep, we learn to exist with eyes half focused on our common living ground. Authentically being toward sleep, we learn to dwell in the ambiguous fact that existence is a limited and only partial project of living. Wide awake but seeing the world through our own most dreamless sleep, we live in the truth of never being completely resolute and of joyfully already being more and less than we ever could be in existence. Yeah. What I'm trying to raise is a question about the very meaning of who we are. Is our truest self, in fact, the self that we discover in dreamless sleep? In Indian philosophies, Eastern philosophies, they often make a distinction between conscious while awake, consciousness while dreaming, and then sleeping without dreaming, which is a kind of consciousness that is the truest self. It's who we really are. If we want to understand the meaning of nature, we don't want to go to trees falling in a forest where there's no one there. We want to go to what is the meaning of dreamless sleep. I think if we really want to understand who we are as a whole and how we relate to the larger world, we want to ask questions of what does it mean about our very identity, such that we hide or we try to pretend that we don't spend the bulk of our time without any gaps or any separations between ourselves and others. Every day we all give up on all of our cares and we recede from all of our involvements. Basically, each and every one of us is a place and moment of earth that only periodically and momentarily can emerge out from it. I think more and more people, please, if this makes sense to you, share this video with someone you know. Ask them about who they are when they dreamlessly sleep, and see if people can't try to find the common ground of each of us being places and moments of an earth that somehow can only haunt itself when it opens up momentary places of awakeness. Okay, thank you.